microphone. First, I'll turn the microphone on. I would like to call this May 20th regular meeting of the Jackson County Library District Board to order. We will be, as part of this meeting, we will have a budget hearing. I would just, for a little preliminary, there are 2 times during this meeting when people may speak. If you want to talk about the budget, speak during the budget hearing. If you want to talk about mostly anything else, you can speak in the 3-minute each period at the beginning that we have at every board meeting. So with that preliminary, we need a roll call first.
Susan Keeper.
Present.
Patty Jensen.
Present.
Kevin Keating.
Here.
Marta Teranzi.
Present.
Marissa Shepherd.
Here.
All right. Are there amendments to the agenda? Seeing no. Yes. All right. We also need land acknowledgement. Jackson County Library Services acknowledges that its libraries are located within the traditional lands of the Shasta, Takelma, and Latgawa people, whose descendants are now identified as members of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians and the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, as well as the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians and the Modoc Nation, who were forced to relocate to Oklahoma. We take this moment to recognize the indigenous peoples whose traditional lands are where residents of Jackson County live today. JCLS is committed to fostering understanding, deep respect, and honor for indigenous people, and we encourage you to learn more about the land you reside on. For more information, go to jcls.org/land. So can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move to approve the consent agenda.
All right.
This is Martin, a second.
Okay.
This is Martin, a second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Do we need a motion to approve the agenda if it's not amended? We don't, do we? No. Okay. So we can go ahead with this. Anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda for further discussion? Seeing nothing. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. We will now open our usual period for public comment. This is comments that are not related to the budget, which we will talk about in a few minutes. But people who have signed up to speak, who do not intend to speak about the budget, might want to let me know that you want to speak about something else. So everybody who's signed up to speak wants to speak about the budget. Okay. You do. All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Come up to the table and speak. You have 3 minutes.
I'm Sandy Winters, and I.
Would you turn on the microphone here and sit so that people need to hear you?
I can see. Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Because I was standing all weekend. I'm on the board of Rogue Comic Con, and I'm the president of the Friends of the Medford Library.
Pull that mic.
And I just
wanted
wanted
closer to you.
What?
Would you pull the mic a little closer? People who are virtual attendees.
Okay. How's that?
That way. That's better. Okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to tell you about the event this weekend. This was our 3rd Rogue Comic Con, which Lanessa Pierce and I started as a nonprofit after the library decided to not do Bedford Comic Con. This was our biggest event ever this weekend, and possibly the biggest event at Pear Blossom Park in Medford. We had 10,000 or more people there over the weekend. We had 100 vendors, 3 costume contests, artist alley, many activities, a kids zone that has about 15 to 20 community organizations that specialize in reaching out to families and children and teens, Boys and Girls Club, or the Children's Museum, etc. So I just wanted to, and of course the library was there, the foundation was there. I think they had a great time and were very successful. The Friends had a booth there where we sold books and merchandise, and we were mobbed. We were mobbed all day Saturday and all Sunday afternoon. We sold the most that we've ever sold at an event before. And the important thing about that, I think, is that we were representing both the library and the Friends bookshop and reminding people that the library is here, that events are here, and that the bookshop is here. People who are not normally going to the library. Many people don't know that there's a bookshop in the library. Some people don't even know that there's a library in Medford. One of our main focuses at Road Comic Con is literacy and being a safe place for teens and children and families to come to. It will always be free to attend. All the activities are free. You still have to buy the merchandise from the vendors, but that's the only thing that you do have to buy. Well, okay, you do have to buy food, but that's the only thing that you have to buy. Some of our food vendors sold out that day. They sold out on Sunday. It was just, I can't tell you what an inspiring experience it is. We worked on it all year, the year before, and it's really exhausting. But when I was standing there looking at the kids in their costumes and the adults in their costumes, and the kids are dancing, and people are buying books, people are buying comic books, people are buying graphic novels, it's wonderful. They're happy, they're safe, they find their community. And we also have events that take them downtown into downtown Medford.
Okay, your time is up, I think.
Okay, so I look forward to having the support of the library next year, and certainly the Friends next year. And I do hope that you will be able to come and attend the event, because it's really a fabulous experience. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a very successful event.
Thanks. It was a lot of work, but it was great.
Mm-hmm. All right. Everybody else who wants to speak about the budget. Okay. All right. Heather, you want to come up to the budget table? We will, as I open this budget hearing, I want to say just a couple of things about the process that produced it. As Heather Scott, our finance manager, began to put this budget together, it became clear that we were facing some large cost increases dealing with health insurance and building maintenance and janitorial services. So the inflation that everybody has been feeling in your budgets at home has hit the libraries as well. And it became clear that as the staff, the administrative team, worked together to look at ways we could control our costs and trim our expenses. So the priorities in generating this budget were to minimize negative impacts on library users and library staff and library hours, which would affect library users. we had a budget. We had a good budget process with the official budget committee, which is 5 additional citizen members in addition to the full board. They considered this budget very carefully. They asked lots of questions. They weren't in favor of making cuts either, except that we are required by statute to present a balanced budget. And in order to balance the budget, it was decided that we would adjust library hours. I mean, in order to balance the budget this year, that was one priority, but we also prioritize trying to have a balanced budget out for a 5-year projection. So the idea in producing this budget was to come up with a budget that wouldn't just be a draconian budget this year, but would get us our expenses and revenue in a closer relationship so that we wouldn't have to do this kind of budget cutting each year as we go forward. So throughout the process, we looked at a variety of library hours. We are adjusting hours across the system. The decision was made to cut Sunday hours in Medford and Ashland, which were the only libraries that were open on Sundays. And we have data about the use of the library on Sundays, indicating that it's used less on Sundays than other days. And if we were going to change library hours, that would, it also eliminates, well, there's a big cost associated with Sunday hours that helps minimize other budget cuts that we have to make. So there was a very important goal to limit any impacts on staff. We were not able to do that entirely, but staff cuts were minimized to the greatest extent possible. The board is committed to overseeing a thriving and energetic library system that serves the varying needs of Jackson County's very diverse communities. Our goal is to have excellent and efficient libraries that meet our citizens' need at the highest level, but we have to do that while we're operating within the revenues that we are able to generate through the taxing authority that we gained when the district was passed in 2014. When the district was passed, part of the momentum behind the passage of the district was a commitment to increase library hours. And we have done that over time in a couple of different stages. And a year ago, or 2 years ago now, in order to support those library hours, we increased the mill rate that we charged under the district from 52 to 60 cents. That just doesn't generate quite enough revenue to keep us open the full spate of hours that we created. So we are in a position of needing to fine-tune the hours that we're open. And as we do that, that generates changes in staffing also. So these changes were built into the budget. This budget was presented to the full budget committee in March, and they asked lots of questions. They pushed hard on whether these cuts were required, and we were pretty convinced by staff and looking at all the numbers that this is an efficient and reasonable budget. We look at this as an adjustment rather than massive cuts. Looking at SOU and Asante these days, those organizations have truly overspent and are facing big budget cuts. We are grateful to be in a position not to have to make cuts, but that our cuts are not anywhere near as massive as those. So on that note, I will open the budget hearing. You will be limited to 3 minutes in speaking. The budget here, we have a time limit tonight. We need to be done by 6 o'clock. And so we are going to allow 20 minutes for this budget hearing. And speakers will be timed and asked to be done when your 3 minutes is up. So first person on the list is Tom Hartman. Come to the table, turn on the microphone, say who you are and your address.
Done.
Before you start, I would like to make one other request to people who are speaking. Because there are many people here and we have a limited amount of time, please don't repeat comments that have already been made when you're speaking.
My name's Tom Hartman. I live at 1615 Crown Avenue, Medford, Oregon. I'm a retired librarian, 26 years, about half in college, half in public. Having read in the newspaper, a number of articles, Rogue Valley Times, I have to say, flummoxed and chagrined. It's going green. Okay.
Okay.
Am I heard back there? No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. To repeat, I'm a retired librarian of 26 years, half in college, half in public. Having read in the newspaper, Rogue Valley Times principally, I am flummoxed and chagrined at the proposed cuts. Number one, you have an interim manager, Frank Phillips, who has no library degree. He is a former principal, to my understanding. Seems like his position was from the get-go to kind of eliminate things. So I have to ask several questions. Excuse me if they're disjointed, but things that come to mind. The library held public meetings to oust your now former library director, Carrie May. Where are the public meetings for Sunday closure, for staff reductions? Where is your community engagement officer in this? Is he having cups of tea? What about him having public contact time? I just wonder. It took years to get a 7 p.m. close during the week and Sunday hours. Why don't now? The reduction smack of let's save the library. Is your administrator imitating the current administration in Washington? I have to say, libraries are not businesses. They're public, not vice versa. They serve the public, not vice versa. Please serve the public. Sunday and 8.5 staff hours have been budgeted. What happens suddenly to not budget? Why has the Rogue Valley Times learned of this, but not of the public? Was sort of alluded to before, you now have a budget issue, you have a 5-year plan to worry about, and a union to work with. Good luck with that. And a final thing, I casually bumped into a friend of mine while I was out today, who said she basically trusts Mr. Phillips. To which he said she was shown, you could take this as hearsay, but this is what I got, that Mr. Phillips, while at St. Mary's College, sent all the parents a letter saying, have your kids still enroll. Don't unenroll your kids at our school. The public school kids are trouble. I leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to respond to that because it was a direct allusion to Mr. Phillips. I don't think there's any evidence
What,
of that.
Hmm?
There was a comment made about the director. I just wanted to make it clear that that was not.
Do you want to?
well,
Okay, we can do it.
all right.
Susan, do you want
All
me
right,
to go ahead?
go ahead, Meg.
Okay, thanks. All
State
change is not,
State your name and address.
my name, Margaret Gertrude Klinkow Hartman. I'm Tom's wife. I live at the same place in, East Medford. All growth is not, all change is not growth, as all movement is not forward. Ellen Gaskin. Tom and I are here having voted for each of you on the library board. You seem to be the best people. And for many years, we both served as professional librarians in public libraries and other communities. I was a public library director, as well as director of several kinds of libraries and archives. I published, consulted, taught at the graduate level in my 41 years in the profession. We are dismayed at the evident betrayal of the Jackson County public, which deserves better than you are now offering. What are you offering? What you are offering may be summarized as follows. A slash and burn budget, providing for less staffing, both professional and paraprofessional, full-time and part-time, fewer open hours, threatened library closings, and that will eventually result in fewer services, materials, programs, and more. A staff so betrayed that they are turning to unionizing. No strategic plan, the creation of which is on hold instead of almost done, rather than in process. No library model for effective, responsible public service. No professional librarian director, merely an educational administrator with no significant background in public library administration, whom you are paying too much money and who is giving you a privatized library model. You may remember the pitfalls when a privatized model was last foisted on the Jackson County community. Recognize that less money eventually really meant fewer staff, professional, paraprofessional at all levels, led to poor collection development, less enticing programs, unresponsive to the public needs, and discouraged trust in the library administration and its board. A business model of the type you are using praises lowering a previously approved larger budget without understanding the impact on the public, which I'm sure you see now. It does not recognize where the library system is already succeeding. It doesn't even provide a standard ROI analysis, return on investment. I can explain it to you at another time. It is a standard of libraries, and as I understand from Susan, she'd never heard of it. So you're not being educated by your staff. It also will never publicly evaluate the effect of the slash and burn budget on the library system until poor service is all the public expects. Although it appears we may be whistling in the wind, I must say that you have an opportunity to do better, and hope you choose to change direction. This is my considered belief in how to approach necessary change. You must make hiring a new director the top priority. Do a nationwide search through PLA and ALA job sites. These are also services, list services of consultants.
Excuse me, that's not talking about the budget.
Well, that's true. Yes, it is, actually. I'm saying that you need to do that first. Hiring a professional consultant will help guide you in the process.
Your time is up.
Okay, my last thing is a C.S. Lewis quote. It may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird. It would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining an egg. We are like eggs at present, and you cannot go on indefinitely being just an ordinary decent egg. You must be hatched or go bad.
You're
So
done.
I hope you can hatch to a good product.
Mariah Gonzalez.
Hello, my name is, hello, honorable JCLS board members. My name is Mariah Gonzalez. Full disclosure that I am an employee of JCLS, though I don't work on Sundays. I also serve on the Board of Governors of the Jackson County Fuel Committee. I come before you today as a community member, a constituent of yours as elected officials, a homeowner in South Ashland, and as a mom. I'm asking you to consider the impact Sunday closures will have on individuals and families. We are approaching wildfire season. Add to that the rising utility costs mean that air conditioning and air filtration are increasingly inaccessible to many households in our county. If we proceed with the proposed budget, there will be little to no free space to seek respite from smoke and summer heat each Sunday for individuals and families like ours. I ask you to look inward and find the bravery to slow down the process and say no to the proposed budget. Now is the time to be creative. We can reduce expenses elsewhere, like reducing the amount of upload speeds we pay for with our internet that we don't fully utilize, and that trimming would not affect anything other than the expense line. We could consider hiring our janitors as direct employees to JCLS instead of contracting that out. And perhaps closing at 6 rather than 7 p.m. is a prudent decision. Given the states of our environment and economy, it would be shameful to lose Sunday access. We must find a way to make the numbers work such that our public-facing, public-serving staff in our community will not bear that impact. Many in our community are already heavily burdened. Thank you.
Thank you.
Noel O'Brien.
Hello, my name is Noelle O'Brien. I am JCLS employee and I live in Ashland. I had to write it down because I'm good in front of kids, but not adults. Good afternoon. My name is Noelle. I'm a library specialist at the Central Point branch, and my primary focus there is children's services and programs. I know that the board is facing real budget pressure, and I respect that, but I also want to show you some numbers that I have today that I think might help moving forward. In 2023, our Storytime program served 1,119 children and caregivers. In 2024, that grew to 3,120. And in 2025, 3,229. That's a 68% increase in 2 years of attendance at our programs in Central Point. On top of that, more than 5,000 children came through on weekly class visits in that same window, and over 13,000 young patrons came through our children's programming since 2023. I share these numbers not to complain or brag, but to demonstrate that Central Point is already functioning as a high demand branch whose staffing structure has not kept the pace with community use. I want to take a moment to thank the families that keep showing up to the branch for every story time and every class visit. It's truly our honor to serve them all, and we don't take it for granted at all. I also want to recognize my coworkers in Central Point. While I'm meeting with families and reading and singing songs, they are holding everything together, checking books in and out, answering phones, helping patrons with tech help, shelving, and still smiling while giving every single person who walks through our doors the kind of service that makes them want to come back. They are the reason that our branch feels so welcoming, and right now they are absorbing the overflow of programs that have nearly doubled with no additional support. Our current staffing levels leave very little room for flexibility, sustainability, or professional development, and burnout is very real in our field. It can lead to people who are great at their jobs leaving jobs that they love. So my ask is simple. Either increase our part-time staff's hours or add an additional staff member at Central Point. This is not to grow any programs or services, but to sustain what our community has already built and to take care of the people that make it possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Megan Thompson. Now, I would ask you all, please keep your comments focused on the budget. This last one was very interesting, but it didn't really have a whole lot to do with the budget.
Okay. My name is Megan Thompson. I'm a librarian with the district, a constituent, a library patron, and an elected member of the union bargaining team. My comments are my own. I'm back again imploring you not to approve this budget. It will have serious financial implications for staff, likely reducing hours, if not resulting in outright layoffs. The budget proposal lists 12.5 FTEs, yet Kobe 5 quoted the district as saying the cuts will only be 8.45 FTEs. With no clarification from admin, many of us are left anxious about our future staffing. While this budget may fix the deficits on paper, it does not repair the broken trust that admin and this board have created. Staff received an email from admin dispelling layoff rumors and claiming there is no budget crisis. Yet we are here today discussing a budget that may eliminate positions. Admin's own budget narrative admits the beginning fund balance exceeds policy, yet by year's end, that balance would have shrunk by over $600,000. That is not fiscal prudence. That is continued erosion dressed up in careful language. When admin cannot provide a straight story to their own employees, how are we supposed to trust them? And when this board has allowed documented deficits to go unaddressed year after year, how is this community supposed to trust that you are providing the fiscal oversight this district requires? The deficits I raised at the budget committee meeting were ignored, perhaps because admin and the board don't want to acknowledge that they may have erred and that the workers that keep this library moving will pay the price for their negligence. The annual financial reports for fiscal year 23, 24, and 25 each document that fund balance is decreased by $734,000, $1.4 million, and $348,000 respectively. In fiscal year 24 and 25, the auditors documented that the district exceeded its appropriation authority on personnel. This board had the information. You chose not to act. Instead, you choose to act now in the fiscal year when staff are unionized and are negotiating their first collective bargaining agreement. My reasons for supporting unionization are not to financially break this library. Unionization occurred because of broken trust and staff needing a safety net, because when harm occurred, there was no recourse to be found. This board can choose to approve this budget, which will financially devastate some staff and put their health, housing, and safety at risk. But it's just one person, you might tell yourself. They'll be okay. If this budget is approved, the library district will join the growing list of employers in the valley laying off workers, with North Medford School District being the most recent. Again, you tell yourself that it's just one person, right? They'll be okay, right? Can you honestly say that they will? Thank you.
Thank you.
Erica.
My name is Erica, and I'm a library associate of over 6 years, speaking as a patron and community member today. I'm here to add my voice to the voices of others speaking up and speaking out today against these proposed budget cuts that, if adopted, would disproportionately and negatively impact and affect my community, library patrons whose access to library resources and the library itself are rare, free, and welcome to all third space out of the heat, cold, and smoke, would be impacted with reduction of hours the library is open to the public, and also my fellow staff members, some of whom, by your choices, if this budget is adopted, would likely lose their jobs. None of those most impacted by this current budget, none of those most impacted by these potential budget cuts had any part in the decisions that led to this current budget situation. Staff jobs and reduced community access to the library should not bear the cost and burden for poor financial decisions made from above. Your choices today have real impact on lives and livelihoods, families, people's physical and mental health, people's ability to pay their rent and pay their bills, people's ability to have access to medical care and treatments they need if they were to lose their employer-based medical insurance. I don't know if this public comment section at this meeting is just a formality and pretense, or if you're still open to regarding and considering the feedback, concerns of your staff and community, and in doing so, reconsidering. My hope is that you are still open and listening and willing to consider, ponder, and adjust. And I am joining my voice with the voices of others here today, for it is right to speak up when things are wrong, and it is right to speak up for one's community, the JCLS patrons and staff I love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ancient Hatfield. What did she say? Is Ancient Hatfield here? Ancient Hatfield is the next.
Hatfield.
Okay. Please.
And just for the record, she said that this is the last public restroom that is open to the public on Sundays. My name is Ancient Hatfield. When I arrived in Jackson County 15 years ago, I depended on the talent library to continue my education, to print my resume, and to find work. I'm not just here for my interests. As remarkable as they all are, I'm not just here for the library workers. I'm also here for the approximately 2,200,000 residents and the unknowable amount of people passing through that rely on the Jackson County Library system each year. People count on the library to be a safer space. This is about so much more than books. In a world that is increasingly more chaotic, the library is a place that we can count on for research, for respite, as a meeting space, as a place to access information and keep in touch with the community. The library is one of the only places where everyone is truly welcome. This is something to be celebrated. Why now are you discussing cutting hours and firing these hardworking, heart-centered people employed here? These are the people dedicated to community betterment. The virtue of a community is directly reflected in the quality of its library. This is a space of higher education. I implore you to be more creative with your consideration of what is most and least valuable. Susan, I received your email, and I'm asking you to do better than that. Let's focus on solutions that can best serve the community. The public and the workers should not be punished for the years of issues with this budget. These people are not just numbers to be balanced or removed. These people are assets and deserve your respect. These people. And as far as Sunday goes, some people can only come on Sunday. It is a depraved state of mind to only value what is profitable monetarily. Any cuts to this incredible group of people that is the Jackson County Library workforce or hours of operation will have noticeably devastating impacts on this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise Kraus.
Well, I thought I was signing up to come in.
State your name and address.
Denise Kraus in Ashland. And I actually thought I was signing up to come into the meeting. I didn't know I was signing up to speak, but since I did, I will speak. And I just want to say, I think I kind of want to echo what Ancient just said about how important libraries are. They just feel like I'm in a position right now where I really want to focus on how we can save our institutions, not lose anymore. Where, we've gotten to this point where we're just tearing things down. We're watching our rural communities just suffer. We've got to worry about SOU, the Ashland Hospital, the libraries. This is really, really detrimental to our entire Southern Oregon. And I think that, we're talking about healthcare, education, and for me, I see libraries as just democracy and services for everybody, available and accessible to everybody. And the other thing I really worry about is the post office. But I think this is really important for our democracy, where people can come in, have access to services, get out of the heat and the cold, to have meetings that engage people, to have communication and socialization. And I think that we should do everything in our power to make that the very last resort. I'm on the Rogue Valley Transportation District Board, and we've had to go through similar issues. I would just, at this point, I would hang on with, for dear life before making cuts that are very difficult to reverse. This is one of the, I just can't tell you how much I care about libraries. And we all do. I know that's why we're here. And we're talking about jobs, real people, real lives. And we're losing jobs at SOU, at the hospital, at the library. What are all these people supposed to do? I think we need to start being really creative. We need to take a pause if we need to, and figure out another way. So I would just urge you to take a moment, don't rush. And I know it seems dire and everything, but getting people back is difficult. Getting services back is difficult. And about all I got to say. I just know you're in a difficult spot. But really think about all the lives that can be affected here. Thank you.
Thank you. Cal Bay.
Well, thank you for having me here. My name is Cal Bays. I'm a resident, longtime resident in Jackson County, 37 years. I'm an employee of the Medford Library. I'm also a patron of the Medford Library, and I'm here today talking as a patron. I want to frame a recent event for you. So this last Monday, with permission from the branch manager, I placed a sandwich board in the corridor out here in the Medford Library. It's saying something about an invitation to the library board. I chose large highlighted lettering saying, this Wednesday, there's a library board meeting. The public is invited to hear the proposed changes to the library this Wednesday, 4 o'clock, community room. I attached 2 pieces of clip art to help draw attention, one of the board meetings, another in Spanish. Yesterday, the sandwich board was removed because there were concerns. Their words. Sit on this for a minute. This is a right of taxpayers, patrons to have access, be invited to hear the proposed changes. Yet the removal of the sandwich board by admin, the community engagement manager, had a disingenuous take on it. They said it would be replaced with a whiteboard. It was like they wanted the least controversy and keeping a less informed public. I had to ask late in the day, Tuesday, if there really was going to be a replacement whiteboard. It was brought down, hastily written, board meeting, 4 o'clock, pushed up against a wall, unadorned, easily missed.
We would like you to speak about the budget now.
I am.
Brad,
This is about the budget meeting right here, and I'm about to. And the irony is that the library's engagement was public. So today, now, the board is considering the proposed budget and approve it like being cut across branches, Sundays being cut out, staff's cuts as well, and why. Auditors were saying 2 years earlier that we were running a deficit. Caution, right? Where does accountability lie? It lies with all of you. The staff is not at fault, not of their own. Staff cuts are disproportionately affected. The board needs to listen and represent the community who is disillusioned by who truly represents them. We know the leadership and budget committees have worked hard, but sometimes there's more work to be done. Budget justice, participatory budgets need to factor in. Hearing difficult priorities is something we have to do. So I thank you, and I ask that the representation with vanquishing the invitation to the public be heard, participate.
want to leave that microphone?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cal was the last person that signed up to speak. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
My name is Natalie Kelly. I am a resident Medford, and I have worked at the Medford Library for the last 5 years. The first year in circulation and the last 4 in the children's department. I am here today in support of my fellow coworkers who have been under a great amount of stress over the last several weeks following the budget meeting that was held here in this very room. I work in a joyful, wonderful environment where we serve children. That's what we do. We run programs for them. We educate them, give them access to books. And our environment, as we have been reeling from this announcement of potential staff loss and budget cuts, has been one of overwhelming stress. Then I come here today to show support for my coworkers, and I watch as one of them speaks of the need for more staffing at her branch and is told that is not a budget thing, but it is. We are being reduced. We are being laid off. Those are potential things on the budget. So saying we are already understaffed is a budget thing. We are here to ask for accountability and transparency when it comes to the budget. I am a member of the bargaining team of the JCLD union, and what was said to me in bargaining when we asked about the budget is not what has been communicated to the public. And the fact that I heard one thing and you say other things now, I think is disingenuous, dishonest, and untrustworthy. We are here because we want to trust you. We want to work with you, but we are told to shut down. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will take one more.
Yeah,
and then
I
have to go.
apologize. I didn't realize that there was a sign up sheet. I am prepared to speak. My name is Jolene White. And I do have a testimony that I would like to share. But before I do that, I would like to share a petition. This is a printout of a move on petition that shows so I basically have brought the community of Jackson County into this room before you to show support for the library. So this is for the library services that the community relies on, and also for the employees that are in this, very uncomfortable and alarming situation. So we have 473 signatures in I think a week or so that it's been running. So please bear that in mind. Okay. Okay, so I will start. My name is Jolene, and I'm a home care worker contracted with the state to provide services to the person I care for. I am also a proud member of Local 99 SEIU 503, the Home Care Local with Service Employees International Union. People in our community use the library for so many reasons: a meeting space, a safe place, entertainment, resources, and to connect with community. While attending RCC and SOU, I used this library immensely for research and to write papers. I still had 4 children at home when I started college. The Medford Library was refuge for me, away from distractions and demands, all the things and people calling my name so I could get my work done. A fellow home care worker, Dana Andre, frequently comes to the Medford Library with the person she provides care for. Regrettably, she couldn't be here today, but she shared this with me. So sad to hear the library is trying to let people go. We need our library. The elderly can't afford to buy books, and to some, it is their only form of entertainment. My employer is 92, and we go to the library frequently. Jackson County Library District support staff made a commitment to exchange services for a paycheck. Whether it's just a job or something they are passionate about, these employees are supporting the libraries, which in turn support our communities, provide safe meeting places, and access to enrichment. Libraries are a part of our shared culture, quality of life, and investment in our futures. Patronage of libraries could be seen as a measurement of the health of our communities and peoples. I implore you to get a permanent director on board who is committed to leading the district down a path of fiscal health without jeopardizing services to patrons, and with all efforts to preserving support staff. These are employees who have shown their commitment to their positions by joining SEIU to negotiate a work environment and compensation that allows them to share and keep expectations and standards parallel with those of the board, as well as fostering open communication. I thank you and appreciate you for holding the positions on the board. I would also appreciate your understanding of the positive impact and opportunities the libraries provide to Jackson County communities, and that the workers that all them, and the workers that allow them to function are part of those very communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody on the virtual board who needs to speak? All right, I will call the budget hearing to a close. And we will go back to the regular agenda. We will continue to talk about we have to consider motions to approve the budget. And so we will now, I would now like a motion to approve resolution 1 that adopts the 2026-27 budget, so that we can then have ongoing discussion about this budget.
Move to adopt resolution 2026-09.
Thank you. Kevin has moved.
This is Martin, a second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-09 to adopt the fiscal year 2026-27 budget. Do we have comments from the board about Patty?
Hi, I'm Patty Jensen. First of all, I want to tell you all how much we appreciate you coming today and speaking. It's scary, and we hear you. I've been a union member almost my entire career. I have been riffed. I've been in management that had to riff. And I'll share a quick story with you that happened 40 years ago, when the CEO of a large health system that I worked for, and I was in management at the time, my first job in management, and he said to me, Patty, what's going to happen tomorrow when these people are let go, it's not their fault. It's leadership. It's management. We hear you. And I'm so sorry. Like all of you, we love the library and are doing our very best to save it for the future. Thank you for giving us grace.
Okay. Any other comments? Marta?
Give my voice. I lost my voice after being sick this week. I heard loud and clear a couple of suggestions about getting a permanent director on board prior to this. Based on my public sector experience and board service, it would be not good for our selection and hiring process to try to bring a director into an unbalanced budget, knowing that they would be stepping into a district that did not contract per the budget committee's unanimous recommendation. And so the budget process, per our nature of being a district, needs to happen now. That's what I understand. So board members want to chime in on that. That's how I see it. I also heard that libraries are an essential service and a third space. My understanding is with the deficit we would be stepping into if we do not do the budgetary correction right now, our ability to be that third space and essential service would be threatened. We're not going for profitable, we're going for sustainable. Also, in the budget committee hearing a couple of weeks back, there was a suggestion from the public to tap into the contingency. Tapping into the contingency for operational costs is the opposite of a best practice. special districts and boards. So I've been thinking and mulling that over for several weeks. We are seeing household names, organizations that are key institutions in our valley experience very existential stress as well, budgetary for most of them. And I see this extremely painful budgetary correction in 2026 as preventing a landslide or budgetary crisis. And this decision is not a right one for me. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Thank you. Yeah, nobody likes doing what we're doing now, cutting back on things that we want. But it is the prudent thing to do to make sure that we have a sustainable library system for the future. And that's what we're doing. It's good management, not bad management. 5 years ago, we wanted many things in the 5 years since then, and we budgeted for them. They've been paid for. Costs have exceeded, have grown faster than we could have imagined. Apparently, I wasn't there at the time. But right now, the wise thing to do is look at what we have, see how we can properly make it through to the future. And that's what Frank Phillips has helped us do, along with our fine finance manager. And we're doing the right thing. I know it hurts, but we're all aiming for the same sustainable library system.
Any other comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Something I would like to consider going forward is how do we get to Sunday service again if the board votes on the budget cuts? Will it take us 2 years? Will it take us 3 years? Where else, not on the staff side, not on the essential services side, can we continue to garner cost savings to get back to Sunday service? That should be the true north. And I look forward to a day that JCLS can resume and sustain that, emphasis on the word sustain. Someone said today, and I believe at the budget committee hearing, that the individuals who will feel the impact of this are not the ones who contributed to the possible deficit the library would be facing. And I acknowledge that. When we looked at the budget last year, we anticipated some costs to rise, but the budgetary correction needs to be made to prevent the budgetary cliff. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
All right. Any further comments? I would like to just correct one assertion that I heard made a couple of times during the hearing, which was that we have been operating in a deficit, which is not the case. We are not allowed by law. By law, we are not allowed to operate as a deficit. I would like to point out that this is a reduction, a budgetary reduction. We are trying to do a minimal resizing of the hours and programs that we are presenting in order to avoid much greater cuts of hours and staff down the road. I'd like to remind everybody that earlier in our history, the county commissioners decided they didn't want to pay for libraries at all. First, they closed them and then reopened them at half their hours. I believe that had at least, anyway, that resulted in the end of the original library union. And after they were going to close the libraries again, Jackson County residents, citizens voted to create a library district, which we are currently operating. It's been and a process that has had some ups and downs. For the first 6 years, we were operated by an outside contractor at half the original hours and much smaller staff, and barely had our library doors open. This board, over time, and the board has changed obviously since people come and go on the board, but we've been working. The district passed with the goal expressed by citizens of increasing library hours, which we have done, and we've done our best to add staff that would make having the libraries open possible. And we may have perhaps been a little over enthusiastic with our additional hours, but we can't reduce the hours without this whole. A library works as a system. It has staff to operate programs, and we buy books, and we circulate books, and provide meeting rooms and safe spaces, as everybody has mentioned. But the goal of this budget is to keep this library system sustainable. We believe with this adjustment, we will not only be able to be sustainable, but we will continue to be an energetic and thriving library system. That is our goal. It is the sincere hope of not only the board, but the administrative staff, and I assume the rest of the library staff, to keep this library system functioning well and serving the citizens of Jackson County as well as we possibly can, given the revenue that we have available. And so this budget represents our best guess at what, it's not a guess. We've looked at all the numbers for every account we have in our financial system. And this budget is our best estimation of a responsible budget that will allow this library system to be a sustainable system over time to serve all the citizens of Jackson County in the small rural libraries as well as in the cities along I-5. And we hope that we will be able to perhaps come back to Sunday service at some point. But at this point, it's just, there's just not, we can't do everything for everybody. And this budget reflects our acknowledgement of that. So if there are no further comments on this, I would call the question. I think we should have a roll call.
Susan Kiefer,
Aye.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Patty Jensen,
Aye.
Marta Teranzi,
Yes.
Marissa Shepherd.
Yes.
Great. So budget resolution 2026-09 adopting the fiscal year 2026-27 budget has been approved. Resolution 2026-10 makes the appropriations to implement this budget. Can I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve resolution 2026-10.
This is Martin, a second.
Thank you. Is there further discussion about making the appropriation? We have recommended an appropriation of 60 cents per thousand of assessed valuation, and this resolution will implement that.
This is what we are assessing right now.
Yes. Which
this is the appropriations are defining the expenses, not the tax levy. That's
okay. Well, I'm correct. We'll come back to the levy. This is This is appropriating money for each account. Any comments?
This
Hearing-
reflects the budget that's presented.
This
One
reflects
follows
the
the
budget as presented. Roll call, please.
Susan Kiefer,
Yes.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Patty Jensen,
Yes.
Marta Teranthi,
Yes.
Marissa Shepherd.
Yes. The motion carries. Resolution 2026-10 is approved.
Move to approve resolution 2026-11.
It's been moved. Can we have a second? Do we have a second?
This is Martin, a second.
Resolution 2026-11 imposes the tax.
So this is where I put my question appropriately. This is what we have been assessing.
This is what we,
This is what we will be assessing.
Will be assessing.
Fiscal year 27.
and it is not a change. Can we have a roll call, please?
Susan Kiefer,
Yes.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Patty Jensen,
Yes.
Marta Teranthi,
Yes.
Marissa Shepherd.
Yes. And one more, resolution 2026-12, categorizing the tax, which has other supporting documents associated with it. We have a motion to approve.
Move to approve resolution 2026-12.
This is Martin, a second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-12. Any comments? Please run the roll call.
Susan Kiefer,
Aye.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Patty Jensen,
Yes.
Marta Teranthi,
Yes.
Marissa Shepherd.
Yes. That concludes the budget process for this year. Our budget has been approved. Under new business, next up on the agenda, under new business, we have two intergovernmental agreements, one relating to facilities and one relating to our shared catalog with Road Community College. Kelda.
Indeed. Good afternoon. So the first amendment that I have for you is for the intergovernmental agreement with the Jackson County Facilities Maintenance. This year, it is a 1-year extension for the fiscal year 2027. Originally, we had a 5-year agreement that began in 2020. Last year, we did a 1-year extension, taking us to the end of this year. And
we're extending.
We have
1 year
another extension, correct?
All right. I have a motion to approve this extension of our intergovernmental agreement with the county to maintain our facilities.
Move to approve the IGA Jackson County Facilities Maintenance Agreement.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the facilities maintenance contract extension for 1 additional year. Is there discussion?
I have a question. Does this result in savings for JCLS to be managing it on behalf of ourselves and RCC through COHA and by water?
That one's the next one. We're on the one with Jackson County Facilities right now.
Thank you.
And there's a 3% cost increase over last year.
Which is pretty reasonable. Can we have are there comments? Can we have a roll call?
Susan Kiefer,
Aye.
Patty Jensen,
Yes.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Marta Teranthi,
Yes.
Marissa.
Yes. Motion to approve the facilities maintenance contract extension is approved. Next up is the Road Community College intergovernmental agreement that under which we share a catalog with RCC.
Yes. Yes.
Kelda, go for it.
All right. Yes, so this is another intergovernmental agreement, this one with RCC, the Road Community College, and we do share a catalog, our COHA catalog, when we migrated in 2020. Yes, and we have an agreement with them to share. It was a 5-year agreement. Our COHA renewal is up, and so we just renewed our COHA subscription in Aspen and other things. And so with that, it was time to re-up the intergovernmental agreement with RCC. There are only minor adjustments to the actual agreement itself. And yeah, and what was your question?
Because we are bundling effectively RCC under our primary contract with Bywater and COHA.
Yeah.
Is there an economies of scale on getting savings? Because, you know, we're two customers, we're representing two customers, one contract.
Well, it's a modest savings, I would say. Road Community College pays us, we invoice them for a portion of the catalog services that we share. And then both of us benefit from the shared experience, however, not just operationally, but our communities benefit. So Jackson County Library patrons can easily place holds on RCC collection items and bring them to our branches for checkout, and vice versa.
Is Bywater charging us less because we represent two customers?
No.
No. Okay. No cooperative purchasing, basically.
No.
Okay.
No. The contract is with us. The Bywater contract is with us, and then we work with Road Community College. Mm-hmm.
I have a motion to approve this
Okay.
contract extension of the IGA.
Yeah, I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Jackson County Library District and Road Community College for the integrated library system with Bywater Solutions for the co-op lab.
Second.
This is Martin. I second the motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussions? Can we have a roll call, please?
Susan Kiefer,
Yes.
Patty Jensen,
Yes.
Kevin Keating.
Yep.
Marta Teranci,
Yes.
Marissa Shepherd.
Yes.
I was one ahead on my notes. That's the second time today that I asked a question that should have been postponed.
The IGA. The RCC. Here. Next up on new business, we have. Sorry. So the contract extension with RCC has been approved, and coming up next in new business, we have 3 possible firms who might lead the recruitment of our next library director. And we have set up a brief interview with each of these 3 organizations that we are going to do virtually. And the first organization up is Karen Miller from Bradbury Miller.
Hi, are you able to hear me okay?
We are able to hear you.
Hey, we're off to a good start. I'm Karen. It's nice to meet everyone. Do you want me to dive right in, or do you have something you want me, like, how do you want to start?
Why don't I just hi, nice to meet you also.
Thank you.
Maybe you can just explain why we should use your organization as opposed to a couple of the others that we are possibly contracting with, and perhaps list out any ways we could reduce the size of the expenditure.
Understandable.
I know that's not your sales pitch, but
No. I understand though. I also was here for the whole meeting, so I get it. So, first of all, I will tell you that I'm Karen Miller. I'm the president and owner of Bradbury Miller Associates. We're a firm that works with libraries across the country doing executive searches. Our firm's been in existence for a number of years, probably since 1983. It's had a couple different names over the years, but it's been in continuous existence. And we've always primarily and only served libraries. So I have been lucky enough to have had a full career in libraries over 20 years, working in public libraries and a little smattering of school and academic library experience way back when. But myself and my team, we are all, sorry, and now I am looking at myself. 1 second.
Oh, well.
That's okay.
Oh, we can see you better though.
No, we like the
We have quite a large audience in the room, so we're going to spotlight you.
That's totally
in order for the whole
fine.
room to be able to see you.
Then I'm just not going to look at it if that's okay with you. All right, no worries. So I want to tell you a little bit about how we work, what we do that's different, and to just give you a quick overview, just so that you have some idea, like who you're talking to and why you might want to consider us as opposed to maybe another firm. So the most important thing that we think we bring to the table is that we do have that library background. So we have deep and strong connections within the library community. Like I said, I've been in libraries over 20 years just prior to my consulting career, which has expanded, or it's about 14 years now that I've been doing this type of work of consulting and executive searches for libraries across the country. So we've had over, and I had a PowerPoint, but I thought you guys have had a long night. We're gonna just jump in here. I'll just tell you a little bit. So we have over 300, we've done over 300 library executive searches in the past number of years. We work primarily with public libraries like yours with the governing board, because what we do is we provide you with a lot of detail, a lot of service. Like I don't want this to sound pedantic, but we basically hold your hand throughout the process because we recognize you're volunteers. This is not your full-time job. We want to make sure that this process works well for you and that we manage your details and that we help you get to the point of feeling confident in decision making. And we know the library community, they know us. So the way we look at it is we're helping you connect with the field and we're helping the field connect with you. So I'm also very proud of we've worked all over the country. We've worked in the West Coast, the East Coast, the Midwest, the South. We have worked in all environments. So we understand. And the way we see it is like when it comes to executive search, this is our primary focus. We are only focused on libraries. So we know the field as well as anybody could possibly know it. It's our commitment to our field, our profession. So we have a deep library leadership network. We understand your governance and what you need to do in terms of FOIA and in terms of public records and all of those types of things. We're very versed in that, and we understand how to help you work within those frameworks, because we know, if you're only used to hiring in, say, private business, it's a very different experience than trying to hire in the public library field or the library, in governmental entities. There we go. And so we want to make sure that we are providing you with the amount of attention to detail, quality, helping you understand what are some of the things that people are typically looking for in a library leader? What are some of the things that, how can we get feedback from the right folks? We want to make sure that we talk to staff and to your union representatives and making sure that we're hearing all of the, where's the library headed? What's going to happen next? Who do you need in terms of what kind of experience do you need to be able to take on the reins of your organization safely and appropriately and have kind of a long-term relationship is what we're shooting for. So the other thing that we do is we are really focused on our recruiting strategy, which is, we advertise in all the places that librarians tend to look for jobs. So there's a good 55 places at least that we post a position across the United States. That is a big part of making sure that we're reaching people, but we also have a very direct recruiting strategy where we have a large database of contacts that we are reaching out to regularly and making sure that they're aware of these positions. We have a newsletter that has over 1,700 subscribers. We put things on social media. We are making sure to get good coverage in the library field to get you a good quality candidate pool. We know that strong library leaders are often not actively applying, so we do use these multiple methods to try to get the word out and making sure that we are reaching on your behalf this large group of, untapped or not untapped, but tapped, potential in the field. So we really see this as, making sure we're connecting you with the right people, making sure we're getting the word out really well, making sure we're explaining to people what they can expect in the role. We are a very transparent organization as well. We really see it as we want to make sure you're getting a long-term prospect for your role and to make sure that they're equipped for what you're expecting, what you need them to do. So when it comes to our process, we start with discovery. We're learning as much about you as possible. We move into the recruitment phase, and all of this is in conjunction with you as partnership, because we're not making decisions for you. We're not providing you with the slate and saying, these are the ones you choose from out of the applicants. We work with you to determine who are you going to see, like sit down together and let's talk about these applicants, and you're making the final decisions. But we're giving you all the advice, the guidance, the expertise that we have to offer. We're going to make recommendations on minimum qualifications. We're going to make recommendations on potential salary range. We're going to make recommendations for you in all areas. And you can use that information to help you make informed decisions. We're not going to tell you what you have to do, but we're going to help you and guide you to the best of our ability. We are always very focused on trying to minimize bias in our processes. And we think that's a really important aspect of our search process, because we know that the library profession is, unfortunately, it's just there's a lack of demographics. So we have over 80% of women in the field. We have 88% white in the field. Obviously I represent both of those things, but we know that this field needs more diversity because we serve everyone. We serve all communities. So we are really focused on making sure we're eliminating bias in all aspects. We use a rubric, we use different tools that we've developed and used to help you make those good decisions. I'm just looking at my notes real fast. But yeah, we have a structured assessment tool that we use, and we just try to make sure that you are well equipped to make good decisions. So how are we different? We provide you with all of the tools. We encourage you to really ask, detailed questions, because we're going to handle all of the logistics for you. We're going to make sure that you are ready to go. Like when it's time for interviewing, all you have to do is walk in, sit down and interview. You're not going to have to do all of the prep work. You're not going to have to call people or send them emails and invite them to be part of the, invite them to interview. Like that's a lot of work that either falls on you or staff. And we want to make sure that you're not experiencing that. Like this is not meant to make this work harder for you. This is a really important job that you're doing. It's a really important role that you are trying to fill. And we want to make sure that we're giving you all that support. And I feel like I'm just repeating myself, and I apologize. But I really do think that that's where we bring the most value to you, is that, we're focused on keeping the process tight, making sure that you're not, we're keeping you legal. We're making sure that you have everything that you need so that you can do the work that's most important that you have to do. So as far as we're concerned, a successful placement is not simply about credentials. It's about leadership fit, organizational alignment, long-term success. That's really our focus. I was going to take a minute just to tell you about a couple of our clients that we're working with currently. We are working with a library in New York State that has gone out they've gone out twice already on their own to try to find a library director in their community. And they came to us after a lot of frustration that they were trying to find this perfect leader. And we've come in and helped them, look at the job description, look at the salary range, look at all of those pieces, and then promoted the position the way we do and doing the recruitment. And I'm really pleased to say that we have over 55 applicants for that position. It just closed about 10 days ago. And out of those 55 applicants, we've got a solid 40 that meet the qualifications and really have potential to be their next library director. So we feel like that's a perfect example of what we can bring to the table when you're not the ones trying to do all that work. So we recognize it's a lot of work. We recognize it's a lot of issues. We want to make sure that we're giving you all that support that you need. So I'm not really talking a whole lot about the process. And I think it's mostly just because I don't want to burden you with a lot of information. And I hope that you had a chance to look at our proposal and see what the details are. If you have questions about that, though, I'm happy to answer them.
You have Kevin.
Thank you. I have two main questions.
Absolutely.
And one I had before, which is, what is your retention ratio once a district has hired someone? Do you have numbers on how long they typically stay? How big is your pool would be part of that. And then secondly, what if we were to desire not to have you engineer demographics? In other words, not score based on characteristics. Would you do that?
We have in the past. We think the reason that we have incorporated all of these aspects into our process is simply because they are tried and true. When it comes to, we look at all the research. I mean, still a librarian when it comes down to it. So when we look at research, the best research out there, it's not meant to, this is not about politics. This is about making sure that we're getting you the best match. And when we're looking at minimizing bias, it's not that we're saying you must hire someone in a particular class, gender, race, whatever. Like, we're saying we do our best to make sure that you're not using your kind of like the instinct or the gut or the, because we all have all these different kinds of biases that don't reflect the usual things that people discuss when they talk about bias. There's heuristics where we just sort of have people that we see that remind us of us when we were younger and think, oh, they'll be just like me and they'll be great in this position because I know I would have been great in this position. There's all these different ways that we tend to, we're trying to sort people in our brains, and we're trying to help you recognize those areas and also have good conversations and facilitate those conversations. So I'm not saying that we won't do it, but I will say that I think it's to your benefit to work with us and hear us out on why the process works, because it is successful. When it comes down to it, I'm sorry, your first question was about what our retention rates are. I went back and went through all of bear in mind, we're a small company, we have 4 people. And when I started off doing this work 14 years ago, it was all literally by hand. I had a spreadsheet and I had like notepads, but we've grown since then. And when I look back, I was going back through all of this information to see how many people are still placed since I first started working in this field. And in the recruiting field, in the last 14 years, we still have people that are in place from the time that when I worked with them 14 years ago. And I would say that our retention rate overall is around 7 years, which is pretty good, but it also depends on the size of the library and what happened. Like, there's a lot of different ways that can be affected, but really and truly, we're really proud of our retention rate because we do make long-term successful matches. I hope that answers. Yes, I don't know why I can't talk tonight. I hope that answered your questions.
We have to keep this moving though.
Yep.
Marta, you've got a question?
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. We have looked at the proposal. I have a question about the support for the in-person on-site for the final interviews.
Yes.
What's your experience facilitating final interviews that have a component of meet and greets with the leadership team and union reps? Because that's something we've considered. We're not set on it yet, but a meet and greet would be very important for the cultural fit. How can you support us with that?
What I would recommend would be that you handle it as a presentation component. We want to make sure that one of the things that we worry about for you is making sure you stay legal. And one of the areas where things can get a little mushy is in those in-person interview processes where there is a lack of structure. So when we're having meet and greets and there's just groups of people standing around talking to each other, that's when people inadvertently ask a legal question, such as, did you bring your family with you? Oh, what church do you go to? I can make sure I connect you with them, all of those things. And so we want to make sure that we're providing you with the best structure. And we found that those presentations really work well. We invite each finalist to come in and do a 10 to 15 minute presentation and then follow up with questions afterward. It can be live, it can be recorded, it's however you wish. And we have found that that is a really great way to incorporate a lot of people and allow their feedback without it being as loosey goosey as just sort of a social.
Highly subjective.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I
Thank
work in
you
the
very
public
much.
sector, so you're speaking my language. Thank you so much.
Understand.
Other questions? I think that's probably all the time that we have to
No
talk
problem.
with you today. The board will be discussing this in an upcoming meeting, and we will get back to you.
Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated,
you.
and appreciate you for your work that you're doing.
Thank you for your time also, and for sitting through this entire meeting.
No worries. Understand.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Next up is Mark Fiala, I believe, of Organizational Architecture.
Yes, you nailed my last name. I appreciate that very much. Is it okay if I share screen so I can go through a very quick PowerPoint deck?
I think we can do that.
Okay, looks like I have that up. Is everybody seeing our presentation?
Yep, we do.
All right.
Yep.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Fiala. I'm here with my colleague, Ryan Sheehan. We're with Organizational Architecture. We're an HR consulting and executive recruiting firm located here in Northeast Ohio, actually. We have a very robust consulting practice along with our executive search practice in the public library space. And we've been around since 2007. And the majority of our work is frankly centered on not only libraries, but other county level agencies, as well as other mission driven type organizations. So we actually do a lot of work with nonprofit organizations as well. We not only work placing directors, but we also have placed fiscal officers, HR leaders, and technology leaders on behalf of library systems. And we're very actively involved both regionally and nationally in library associations and other public sector related organizations. This was in our proposal. This is our client list specific to libraries. The hyperlinks take you to the success stories for the various projects we've done. Not all of these are director searches. They include the other projects we do for libraries, which include compensation studies, performance management systems, org design, things of that nature, which I think we also included in our proposal. And we also partner with a number of organizations, as we mentioned earlier, both specific to public libraries, but also in the public sector space as well. Your project team is going to be comprised of myself, Mark, and Ryan. And in addition to us, Heather Muller is a professional librarian who works with us on these projects. She typically joins at the point of launch. She's worked in library systems all over the country, from director all the way down, in a number of different roles for systems of various sizes. And what she helps us do is, she leverages her knowledge of library operations, culture, and things like that to help us, who come from more of an HR, recruiting, talent management, and human resources leadership background. The things that make us unique, we are very experienced recruiters. In fact, Ryan and I particularly are very experienced senior level HR leaders. We think that's important because it informs not only the search work we do for the clients, but it really helps us understand library operations, especially down to the people side. We have extensive experience working with bargaining units and library systems with bargaining units. And frankly, some of those bargaining units have recommended us to other library systems to do projects because of the relationships we were able to foster with them. We also, bring to the table librarian expertise on our projects with our public library clients. We have very strong networks. We've worked, all three of us, in nationally across the country for various organizations, so we understand the landscape in different regions of the country. And we're very comfortable and able, frankly, to reach out to people throughout the country who may be interested in a position like this once we get started with it. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. He's going to talk a little bit more about our process, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about us.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
So yes, to tell you a little bit about our process and then some of the tools slash deliverables that we provide. One thing that I think sets us apart, if I may chime in on that, is our deep experience in recruitment, talent acquisition. We've refined these processes and tools to be very effective, specifically for libraries, but also just generally across different industries, geographic locations, etc. The first part of our process is really that gathering data and documents, and we discuss those and work through those in the project launch meetings. And also we do some logistical planning around who's going to be involved in the process. Is there a smaller subgroup of hiring committee, board, etc., and start to talk about, what specific changes to our kind of best practice of interviewing, screening, and hiring. So in terms of the data that we like to do, and some of the nice things about this is it will give you some other information and tools that you can use for other things. And going forward, we'll look at your job description, make sure that's accurate, up to date, refined to reflect the job accurately. Candidates want to know exactly what, is expected, what their priorities are. And that helps us, of course, with developing other tools. Another thing that we do, I think that's kind of novel, is we do a compensation assessment for the position. So we're going to gather data, see what the true market range for the position is. And that's helpful because that will help us have a competitive salary for the position and attract good candidates. And then also we'll look at other items for the candidate screening criteria. So again, we're looking at your must-haves, nice-to-haves, and we're looking for skills, knowledge, abilities, characteristics. And also, I think what's very important sometimes gets lost is coming up with those things that affect a candidate's specific fit to your organization, that they'll be culturally aligned with, and that they're appropriate in their career at this time for what they're stepping into and what they could and should want to do. And all that really comprises what we call an employee value proposition. So this is really kind of a key point in terms of marketing to candidates. What makes your library the right place for them to advance and grow? What do they get to do? What do they get to become? And when you align those and find candidates that are going to fit with your organization, that's where you get that long-term retention. And then we're also going to develop a sourcing strategy. Again, we have access to dozens of websites and job specific, industry specific, and other job boards. We take care of all the posting. Fees are included in our general fees to post. Fees to post job ads are, included in our overall fees. So the job boards and those type of websites are really to find active candidates, people that are looking to change careers. But however, we do find some of our best candidates are actually passive candidates, those that aren't looking. So we utilize our networks. We have very, very robust networks, not only regionally, but we attract folks nationally. We use LinkedIn Pro. We have a pretty extensive database of folks that we can look at and that we message to on a regular basis through our newsletter. And we're very good at using your and our social media to get other folks interested and reinforce, the opportunity, and the repetition is a very important part of that. And then we're going to do the lion's share of the screening. We do a phone screen. We do a face-to-face, usually a Zoom screen. And then we'll get you a slate of candidates, a short list of really impressive, qualified people. And then we will help facilitate those final interviews, give you the assessment tools you would need that, we customize based on all that data and documents and information we get from you and other stakeholders. And there's a couple ways we can do that, but we can go into that if there's time later. We'll help with the final negotiation, onboarding. We check references, which is also part of the assessment process and gives you good information to get the person orientated and off on the right foot. And then, we're very good at responding to emails, but we also set up a cadence of regular reporting and updates with pipeline stats, other information. And of course, if there is something you need to know sooner, we'll break that cadence, but that's pretty rare. Generally, we're proactive communicators and, you'll be very well informed and understand where we're going, you understand the roadmap, and you understand, kind of what tools we're using to get to our desired ends. And we've been very successful and, really enjoy working in the library space. I would say that's probably our favorite subsector or niche right now. I'll turn it back to Mark and he can just hit on a couple more things and then we'll take your questions.
Yeah, just a couple more slides here. So we did put this in our proposal. We do take diversity and inclusion very seriously, and to that end, we're aware of the landscape of library folks that are out there, and we've been very diligent in finding ways to reach people. I think both through our network and also just knowing where to find people that would be, interested, fit, motivation, all that good stuff. And we have found over the years that sometimes a proactive approach is really necessary to really reach out to people. So, to kind of second what Ryan said about the passive candidate generation, we are very diligent in our outreach to people, both, during these kinds of opportunities, but also on an ongoing basis. We connect with nearly 8,000 people in the library space twice a month on various things that we're up to, including our job postings. We did put in also just a word about our guarantee, and we can talk more about that and answer any specific questions you have. And then our fee structure is, simply based off of the selected candidate's first year salary, which is a discounted rate for our public sector and nonprofit clients. So that's our presentation. We'd love to hear from you and answer any questions you have.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions? Mark?
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. This is Board Director Marta Turnson. Sub-point 5 of your process approach about the employee value proposition states why JCLS would be a best place to advance their career. Are you open to shifting the lens to why JCLS is the best place to serve as a library leader? You also said what you get to become there. So it might sound semantic, but to me it's not. Have you had organizations shift, say, that particular value proposition to service as opposed to career advancement?
Yeah, I understand where you're going with that. I mean, we're obviously going to screen people that are going to be in alignment with what you're looking for, in terms of service and that kind of orientation, whatever it may be, once we get more deeply into it. We were just simply trying to highlight the element of this that, we also have to craft a proposition to the labor market to get them interested and excited about the position as well. And that's what an EVP does. Which is not to say that these are exclusive. It's maybe as a reminder that, yes, this is probably a great opportunity for the right person, but the level of person we're dealing with at this point in their career and the kinds of people that we're going to be screening for you may have options to go elsewhere. So we also have to come out of the gate very strongly with an articulate message to them about why this is what's in it for them, in other words. Not that they're going to be exclusive to what you guys are looking for, but we want to be able to attract the right kind of people who are going to be discerning and also more in alignment with what you're looking for.
Thank you. We're on the same page.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ed.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, we're just getting started in this process, and we'll be back in touch with you in a couple of weeks. I think we have another meeting scheduled to go through the options here, and we should make a decision and get ready to move pretty soon.
Well, we truly appreciate the opportunity to be part of this process. Thank you so much. And if there's any other questions or information you need from us in the interim, please let us know.
We will. We know how to get in touch with you, but we wanted to have this review in a public forum. So thank you very much for being patient and putting up with coming to our board meeting.
Thank you.
Quite all right.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, I believe we are speaking with Sonia Rothman of the Prothman organization.
Yep. Hello. Do you hear me?
Hello. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I certainly can. I can see you on a teeny little box there in the front of the, you're about this big, but that's okay.
Oh.
Well, good evening. Hello. Nice to meet all of you. Did you want to start with any specific questions? You've gone through 2 people now, and do you've got a little experience in this. Did you want to have just specific questions, or did you want me to talk about I'm a husky, you guys, there's ducks, my cousin's a duck, and my son-in-law's best friend is a beaver. So, we're Pacific Northwesterners.
Sure. Well, you might want to see if you can differentiate yourself from the others, or what makes your service special.
We are the Pacific Northwest. We are, probably 90% of our clients are Washington and Oregon. We've been in Brookings, we've been in Medford, we city of Medford, city of Ashland, I've got your map up, Gold Beach, Bandon, everything around you. We've been in those cities, and we've helped the cities find good employees. And I think that Pacific Northwest people are different than East Coast people. So, we understand the weather, we understand the culture, we understand the people. We're a little more laid back than the East Coast. There's all kinds of things that change us from the mid-central US and over. So, so the fit content coming in is really important. And so, with our process, fit becomes a very important part. And we've done over 1,200 recruitments, mainly in Washington, Oregon. So we pretty much have what it takes to survive in Washington, Oregon. A lot of people will, if they don't understand the amount of rain we get, you necessarily can't bring people in from Florida, because they don't, they think, oh yeah, I visited in the summer, but now it's winter, and then they leave within a year or 2. So there's all kinds of great things about the Pacific Northwest that I think a lot of people won't understand. So I think number one, that helps us understand your culture, values, and all of those things, because we really do know Oregon. Besides that, we've done 1,200 recruitments at least. So we've got the process down. It's not a cookie cutter process by any means. We don't just come in and say, here's the process, you have to do it our way. Maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we did that. But I'm a process person, and I like to make things efficient and run smoothly, and learned over the last 20 years that we can tweak the process. The proposal gives you a process, and it's pretty much a science. And, it's pretty much looks the same for most of the recruitment firms. We do the upfront stakeholders, we do the proposal or the profile, we post it, we advertise, we screen. But then it's a little bit of an art of understanding the people, the cultures, the fit. So over the years, we've learned that the cookie cutter process doesn't work. We come in and we spend a lot of time in the stakeholders to find out what your needs are for this recruitment, and so the process, it's hard to put that into the profile. And I try to say in there that, we're open to changing this. And so I think that's where we are really being successful. And we're, the clients really appreciate us, because we are coming in, and we spend a lot of time up front. We want to meet with every board member. We want to meet with every staff. We want to meet with everybody. We have a pre-kickoff meeting so we can get all the expectations of what you're looking for and what this process is going to look like. Do you want 3 meetings before we post? Do you want to be involved and see the applications of all the applications? We don't necessarily recommend that. We'll have you sign the forms for confidentiality, but we can do that. So we want to come in and learn what is important to you. And then we design this process around what we hear from you. So that's kind of hard to put in the proposal. So I think that's what we've learned the most over the 1,200 recruitments, is that we're really a team. We're really, we love to help people. We love to help organizations, and my consultants that work for me really, after their 30 years, it's really a great thing for them to be able to come back and use their 30 years of local government knowledge and come in and help organizations and lead you through this process and facilitate you through the process and partner with you through this process. And then come out with the great hire that you all want. So that's why I think we stand out a little bit from the others that I've watched.
All right, go ahead. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for your proposal. Sorry, I've lost my voice. This is Library Director Marta Turnsay, Board Director. I am familiar with many of your current recruitment clients, so I have a question for you regarding your past library-specific recruitments and successful placements. On average, or typically, what is the size and the number of branches for the library systems that you've helped recruit and place successful candidates?
Good question. Not a lot of library, there hasn't been a lot of changeover in the library directors. We're going to start seeing more with, us baby boomers aren't applying anymore. We're not all baby boomers are retiring yet, but they're definitely not applying for the next job. And so library directors tend to stay in their jobs for a long time. So there's not a lot of turnover in that. Currently right now we're doing Oregon City Library Director, and we are now, we're just about to post the City of Hermiston Library Director. So we've got those 2 recruitments going on right now. Past recruitments, I don't have that in front of me. We had an interim library director in the city of Puyallup, and we did that library director, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago. Sorry, I don't have that. I don't want to mislead you with a wrong answer. I don't have that information in front of me of the other library directors we've done over the past 20 years. But there's been a few. There hasn't been a lot.
Gotcha. Thank you. I just wanted to acknowledge that we are a 3rd largest library district in Oregon, and we have 15 branches, and the structure lends itself to a different approach than a municipal, maybe just a couple of branch recruitment, and that's what I'd like to know more about. Thank you.
Yeah, and let me just, so sometimes we do a fire department or a fire district with 1 station, and sometimes we do a fire district with 10 stations, or sometimes we do a park district that has 3 parks, or we do a park district that has, 40 assets and parks and stuff. And it is important, but the skill levels and the qualifications and the experience of being able to screen a good director and a good manager are pretty consistent in the process of, on how big or complicated it is. You're still looking for your minimum qualifications. And yes, this one, you're not going to bring someone who's we would never bring forward someone who's only been in charge of, 1 single library, right? It's scalable. And so I don't know if that helps, but that
Yep, that
It's
does.
really learning about what makes a good manager, what's in their backgrounds. Having reviewed thousands and thousands of gone through executive directors of all kinds of different organizations, we know what makes a good executive director or a good library director or a good park director.
Mm-hmm. Yep, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I thank you very much for making this time available and for suffering through our board meeting. We will be getting together in the next couple of weeks and making this decision about who we're going to have help us with this. And we will be back in touch with you as soon as we are ready.
All right. Well, you guys all have a great evening. And thank you for the opportunity to present to you.
Thank you very much for your time. Okay, good. All right, we're getting there. We have the library director's report, which you've all had an opportunity to read. Do you have the highlights you want to make?
Yeah, I'll just be real quick to hopefully. As I read the director's report this month, I was struck by two major things. Number one was the number of partnerships that we have, from the Prospect branch partnering with SOU for an archaeology project to the Ashlands partnership with the Institute for Applied, pardon?
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, to applied sustainability, as well as the Ashland partnership again with SOU with the collective cartography, which sounds really cool, and then talent with Maker City. Just tons of things there. So partnerships was one thing that stood out to me. The other was the word that came to mind was overflow. So literally in terms of Central Point and their toddler aerobics being taken out to a park and being, overflowing out into a park to hold their event, to the Butte Falls presentation on wolves that overflowed into the school gym next door because there was such interest in the community on that program. And then that Ashland Institute for Applied Sustainability Partnership Program was actually held at SOU, again, attracting a very large audience. In addition to Roosh mentioning how they have expanded their marketing efforts, again, getting out to community bulletin boards and all sorts of things. And even DIA being held at multiple branches. So again, just that sense of abundance in terms of attention. And then of course, not least of which is our amazing outreach team who's doing things like a story walk here in Medford. Let's see what else. The Rogue Retreat with the Tech Ed team, and having a program at the mall as well. So I mean, just we're everywhere. So that's what I was struck by today, or this time.
All right, that's great. The partnerships and the overflow is pretty striking in this report. Any questions for Kelda?
Thank you, Kelda. Thank you very much for the continued report and the great work.
So can we do these committee reports really fast, or should we kick them?
We could read them.
Oh, well, we have read them. Hopefully we've read them.
Yes. I'm good with.
We're bumping up against time limits, and I think we can probably read these reports. And if there are, Marta?
Yeah, I will just insist on sharing that the strategic planning committee continues to meet. That's about it. The work on the 18-month strategic roadmap continues. We're also aware that the strategic roadmap could very well be a part of our successful recruitment packet. So we want to make sure it is a very understandable document. It's a clear document, and it's something we can possibly present to possible candidates as, hey, this is what we decided to work on for now, and you will have a role in defining the next 5-year strategic plan, since we talked about recruitment. Thank you.
Okay. The facilities committee, I can report because I was there, but we had a good meeting. We mostly talked about making sure we're all lined up for the next bit of, we've got the 5-year plan and where we are, and we had a report on the pollinator garden and a couple of other things that were in the minutes. So unless you have questions, I'm not going to go any further. Yes.
I have one thing to add. Sorry, at the just at the policy committee meeting, Kevin requested that I mention that the future meetings and events. So June 3rd is the work session for y'all, and
there's a work session scheduled for June 3rd, for which we don't really have
the board work session.
Yes.
Yes, a board work session is scheduled,
right.
And Kevin suggested the idea. He wanted to toss this out that you all discuss a retreat, and what you want to talk about at your retreat.
That's a good idea.
The work
so there is a board work session scheduled for June 3rd. I won't be here, but I will attend virtually, hopefully. But this board tradition has pretty regularly in the past done an annual a planning retreat to sort of look at what we're going to try to get done in the coming year. And there's lots of different ways we can go, but we have policy questions that are being considered, and so it would be a good idea, I think, to take the June 3rd meeting and spend some time trying to figure out what we want to do in this retreat.
I think you just answered my question, but so you were not saying that the June 3rd would be the retreat.
No, it's not the retreat. It would be try to get some movement toward the retreat.
Yep. I'll bring a couple of possible guest speakers because there were a couple of great speakers at the SBAO conference this year that in an offline conversation, Karen and I would love to see present to the whole board as opposed to just the three of us being in a general session and do a deeper dive on topics such as performance management.
Okie doke. Okay. Hearing, is there any other business anyone would like to raise? If not, we will adjourn.
Thank you.
6:04.
Thank you.